First bus I purchased wasn't actually Unit 2345, my old Look GMC bus. In late 2002, about 6 months before buying Unit 23, I bought another bus from the campus bus service at Kent State, Unit 6738. This bus is a 1972 T6H 4523A New Look style GMC bus. The New Look style for transit buses started in the 1960s when buses were designed with large front windows for better driver visibility. This also led to them getting the nickname of Fishbowl. And this style of bus is more familiar in pop culture as the type of bus used in the movie Speed. So Kent State bought 8 New Look buses in 1972 to meet the needs of their growing operations and to allow for the phasing out of their aging Old Look buses. Originally, the livery for the Kent State buses was an overall blue with a gray roof and yellow accent lines. In the mid-1980s, these buses were updated and given a new livery. New livery was a light gray roof and lower section with the upper portion painted black, and there was a yellow and blue accent line down the middle. This livery was used until the closure of the campus bus service in 2004. So if referred to me acquiring Unit 67 as buying or purchase, then that really isn't true. Kent State, being a state of Ohio institution, isn't in the business of selling vehicles, so this means that when it comes time to liquidate a fleet, they have to put them up for auction. On November 6, 2002, an invitation to bid was available to bid on Unit 67. Actually, 2 buses were being auctioned at the time, Unit 67 as well as another Kent State bus, Unit 3741. Unit 3741 was a 1967 T8H 5306A, serial number 39, if you're interested. So the auction was a closed bid, or also called a sealed bid auction. This means that you would write down your bid, mail it to the auctioneer, and then on a set date, all the bids would be opened, and then the highest bid wins. So I called the department at Kent State that was running the auction and requested my own invitation to bid. When I received it, in the folder was the terms of the sale and a very brief description of what was being auctioned. 2 used buses. It didn't even say what model of the bus was or anything, it just said 2 used buses. And if you wanted, you could make arrangements to visit the campus bus service garage and actually take a look at the buses, I guess. And also in the folder was a bid sheet that you could write down your bid and mail that in. Obviously, I don't have that document anymore since I mailed mine in, but that may have listed what the bus model numbers were. I can't remember. And then the bids were due prior to them being opened at 3 p.m. on November 20th, 2002. They were nice enough to allow you to come in and view the opening by the procurement department if you really wanted to. At the time of the bid, I was an airline pilot, and I remember sitting on the ground in Syracuse, New York, when I got the call that I was the winning bidder. I then had to explain to the guy I was flying with what I had just bought and why. I think he got a chuckle out of that. So being that this was a closed bid made coming up with a dollar amount to bid pretty difficult. It's one thing to watch like an online bid when you can see the number of bids and the rate at which people are bidding to kind of gauge what the interest is in this. But this was a pure shot in the dark. I had no idea even how many people were going to bid. So at the time, money was pretty tight, so I really couldn't afford to throw a high dollar amount at it. So I eventually set it on what would be my winning bid, and that was $521. Adjusted for inflation, that's the equivalent of $753.37 in 2021. So to think that this bus was used in routine service probably up to a few weeks, if not even a few days before the auction was over. I mean, this was a fully functioning, maintained vehicle, and then it sold for a few $100. I think the only competition I had for this, or any of the other buses that were selling at the time, were folks trying to buy them just for scrap, which is probably why my low bid won out. They weren't bidding much at all either. So my timing in buying a New Look bus couldn't have been better, honestly. Throughout the end of the 1990s, transit operators were eliminating their aging New Look fleets, and any interest from private collectors hadn't started to materialize yet, so these buses were being sold and scrapped for pennies on the dollar. I just happened to be at the right time, the right place to buy one of these. So unfortunately, the story isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I quickly came to understand the single biggest issue in owning a bus like this is having a place to store it. Within a few years of my purchase and being forced to repeatedly find a new home for it, Unit 26 was deteriorating and no longer running. So while I paid next to nothing to get it, I've now probably paid double or triple that just to have the bus towed to different storage locations. But things have improved for Unit 67. Eventually, I was able to bring the bus to my house and park it on a gravel bed. And then finally, a few years later, I was able to build a building large enough to accommodate the two buses. So now both Unit 23 and 67 are parked inside, away from the elements. So the plan is to bring Unit 67 back to life, but it'll only happen at the pace of available time and money. So hopefully that's in the near future. Thanks for watching.